I'm very glad again to be on this session with you when we get to discuss about innovative conversations, have the talk with thought leaders within the ecosystem and insightful minds. And today we are going to delve into a very, very interesting topic that you would leverage, especially if you are a startup out there or you were just someone who would want to push to get funding for whatever idea you have and whatever you're pushing for. Yes, today we are going to be discussing the world of grant application, the processes. How can we hack the grant application process? And that is what we're going to be discussing about today. And yes, I have someone who fits in right in every angle of this conversation, a guru in the entrepreneurship space, someone who is also, he has a product for you also in grant writing. And when I bring him up, you will see who I'm talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking of no other person than Mr. Edward Esene, who is also the director of marketing in the renowned ISN Hub, Innovation Support Network Hub. And then he's doing a lot in the ecosystem too. So Mr. Edward, also known as Headworld, trained and practiced as a geologist before delving into management, entrepreneurship, and consulting. So with more than 15-year training and consulting experience for indigenous firms and multinationals, Mr. Edward is well sought after as a startup coach, and he has helped a lot of startups to raise funds along the way. So, Mr. Edward, good day. Nice to have you on Tech Rounds today. How are you doing?
Very fine, Emmanuel. Thank you so much for having me. It's a beautiful day, and I can't wait to jump into the conversation. Thank you.
Yes, it's a beautiful day, and personally, I cannot wait to join this conversation. So, before we actually went live, some persons, especially startup founders, they were like, okay, I really want to be on this session today. And I didn't know that today was the end of the fasting for the Muslims, because some of them complained that, oh, we're going to miss this. So I was like, oh, I didn't know. Maybe I would have checked my calendar, but I mean, they can always watch the replay live. We can always watch the replay on YouTube or on our LinkedIn page on Tech Build Africa. So it's always there. The value is not lost. So thank you very much. And if you need to scale on your idea, you need funding to run some things. And then there are different funding models that exist, and we know. And the one we say you don't have to pay back is the grant. And that's what we are going to focus on today. Grants, right? Yes, you get the funds for free. You don't have to repay. But how do you actually pitch to win this grant? I think that's the bone of contention today. And then we'll be driving our key talking points around understanding the existing funding models that exist for startups, gain a clearer understanding of the grant funding process, best approach and strategies for grant application, and the best ways to research for grant opportunities for businesses. So how do you research and even know if such grants do exist for your startup or your innovation? So those are the talking points that we are going to be rallying around today. So first and foremost, I did the introduction, but I think it's always good to hear from the horse's mouth most of the time. So over to you, Mr. Edward. Who are you? What are you doing in the ecosystem?
Like you said in your opening introduction, funding is a big issue. If you look at the entrepreneurship and innovation ecosystem, there are a lot of ideas, a lot of prospects, and there are different frameworks to scale a business. But one of such is that whatever makes you peak, there will be need for funding to happen. There are five things primarily you need to scale a business. You need vision and leadership, you need culture and the right environment, you need a great team and talent, you need technology, you need customers, and you need funding. That's 6 items. Okay, so if you look at any of the big corporates, any of the thriving tech startup, you will find a couple of these 6 elements. So without funding, nothing can really scale, nothing can be big, right? So you need customers, you need leadership, you need the environment, the culture, the talent, you need technology, and you need money. Because I also worked in venture capital, right? I worked in a VC firm, Big Plus Group, not extent. From there, I worked on the UWIN project, okay, for 2-3 years also, 2012 to 2015. Then I also, at this point, I'm a BDSP to some banks. meaning I help clients to raise funding from banks. What that means is that I am one of the very few funding development finance experts that can take you full circle. I can talk to you about debt instrument because I do that both from the client side and from the investor side. I can talk to you about grant instrument because I apply for grant, I get grant, and I also help people and individuals apply for grants. And I'm also a consultant on some running grants that we mark as a reviewer, as a judge, as an evaluator. So I can tell you what are the things to look out for, what are the things you must do and must not do in your grant application. Then, like I said, also, I've also worked in VC firm. I understand a bit about equity investments, and that instrument. So we can talk debt. I'm talking the funding framework now. There are four: debt, which is loan, principal, and repayments; equity, which is valuation, dilution, and exits, right? Then there's grants, which is not a free fund like most people think, is an impact fund, and there's also a mechanism for payback. Emmanuel, if you collect a debt instrument, principal, interest, and tenor, principal, interest, and tenor. If you collect a debt instrument, you will pay back interest. If you collect an equity instrument, you will pay back with shares and dividends, right?
Yeah.
If you collect a grant instrument, you pay back with impact. Impact. Okay, this particular social problem that your solution or idea is solving, the economic integration, the PWTs you are reaching, the indigenous community that you are helping. Impact is the fulfillment and the payback for most grants and funding. So there's in the funding framework, there are four. There's debt on the table, there's equity on the table, there's grants on the table. Then the fourth one is the mezzanine, okay, which is a combination, is an hybrid instrument and a mixture between a grant and a debt, or a debt and a grant, or an equity. And once you mix 1, 2, 3, or 1 or 2 or 2 or 3, you are now doing a mezzanine instrument. That's the fourth option on the table.
Opportunities out there. They may not be much, but I know there are some reasonable number of grants, and sometimes it could just come and it goes like that. Some persons are not aware that this grant application or this grant opportunity had existed. So, what steps can startups or entrepreneurs take to be able to grant opportunities for their ideas?
Thank you. Grant opportunities exist, and in my own opinion, and from where I sit, there are a lot of grants running every day, every week, every month, every year. There's grants for everybody, for anybody. There's grants for academicians. There's grant for arts, for music, for research. There's grant for business, for projects, for schools, for military. There's grants everywhere, every day for everybody.
Yeah.
Okay. Now you just need to know where to look, and you need to align with the funder's eligibility and component alignment. That's the beginning thing. There are about 4 or 5 things you need to win grants. Maybe we'll talk about that later. But the starting point is that information. If you don't know, if a grant opportunity doesn't come into your space, maybe somebody forwarded a link to you to check it out. What we do at the School of Grant Success, there is no day we don't get up to like 5 to 10 grant opportunity.
Awesome.
Is that the funders? I'm not joking. Is that the funders are sending it to us, or the students or the alumni? They got the call. Let's talk about the opportunity. The first thing is opportunity.
Yeah.
Information. To get a grant opportunity, you need information. And there are 4 frameworks. There are 5 things you need to get a grant. There are 4 ways you can get information. Okay? So I don't want to confuse myself or confuse anybody. In that information mix, there are some that we research ourselves and we get that information and share with our students. There are some that the funders themselves are looking for applicants and they send to us, okay, and we share with our students. There are some that we are not even aware of, like they call those one close calls. Somebody got it through somebody and it doesn't want it in public domain, but he or she wants to apply and is sending it to us and our consultant in the school for us to help them package the grant application. You said you will be shocked, say, what's in the happen? Where this guy, when this grant come outside, when did this person see this grant information? It's underground, but I'm getting to know now because they brought it to us to help them apply. There are several grants like that that are not in the public domain. So the first thing you need to find your way around grants is information.
I think
Without
information is really
information, you're
key
just
here.
winking in the dark. Information is key. That is why platforms and organizations like Tech Build Africa, you guys are really. I follow your newsletter. I see some of the amazing content and information that you're putting out in the ecosystem.
Yeah,
So
thank you
people
very
should
much.
sign up. They should follow. You know. So in that information mix, let me just wrap up with this. There are 4 framework we teach to get grant information. There's what they call the open calls, the close calls, the warm calls, and the cold calls.
Okay.
Open, closed, warm, cold. It's just like a quadrant, 25%, Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4.
Yeah.
So there are open calls. Open calls for grants are normally call for application, call for proposal, call for concept notes, ERPs, FRPs, EOIs, bids and tenders, all those things. Those are open calls. Tony Limelu grants, TEF, ran January this year to sometime in March. They've announced some of the winners. I'm excited for some of our students
Wow.
that
That's awesome.
were successful.
You keep doing the wonders.
Yeah. Even also some of them also did not get. So it's not like we got 100%
Yeah.
success. There's no 100% success with grants. You just keep increasing your chances with the knowledge and the skill. So Tony Elumelu application in January, I want to submit this very quickly, is an open call. An open call, okay, in terms of grant information. But there are also closed calls. Okay. The Google grant I got last year, it was from Google South Africa's office to implement CSPS, a STEM project for kids in public schools. It was a close call. When I got the letter, they wrote that this is a close call. It means if they don't send and give you, if you're not called on to bid or to submit a proposal, you will not know. Yeah. It means if you're not on that mailing list, you're not supposed to submit. You can't send to anybody. It was a close call. But there are also cold calls, the ones that you yourself reach out to the funders themselves and say, I know you are into this. I have this kind of this. Please give me grants. Cold call. Then there are warm calls where somebody can do an introduction for you and give you a linkage and access for you to reach the funder. These are the 4 frameworks. But most people just sit down open call and think that is all there is. Open call is good, but you're missing out on the other 75% of the quadrants. You're just sitting on 25%.
I can see for fact we've learned that we have the open call, the closed call, the warm and the cold. So I believe this is an assignment. This is a homework for every entrepreneur out there. So you need to get closer to where you can get information. Just like we say, knowledge is power. I think information is really key when it comes to having access to grant opportunities, just like Mr. Edward had said. All right, so moving ahead, when it comes to grant writing, a lot of persons have issues. It could be how to start, what to include, what not to include, and then who to send to and how to send it, and what platform to even send it on. So, Mr. Edward, what are the key components that people can look out for to be able to garnish their grant application and make it successful?
So I'll continue from where I stopped, which is start with information. The next thing, once you get the information, the next thing is to look for eligibility.
Okay.
When there's a call, whether open or close or warm or cold, if you are not eligible, don't even bother. There's a DQ. In grant writing, it's what we call DQs. DQs are disqualification. as a consultant, as a judge, as a marker, before I start reviewing 3,000 applications, I will first of all check for all the details. There's no point me going through a 20-page concept notes if one or two things can disqualify them. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Eligibility is just what the funders want. Oh, is women only. So if you're a guy, why do you want to apply? Are you an hermaphrodite? Oh, it's 18 to 35. If you are 40, move on, except you want to start lying. Oh, the businesses are sector focused, sector agnostic, right? Or
Yeah.
open. You know, if you're sector agnostic, fine, everybody's welcome. If you are sector specific, if you say fintech, agri, and climate focus, it means if you're in mobility or you are renewable
Yeah.
energy, renewable energy are going to climate focus. But you are not there, you are not there. You don't list your sector, right? If it's region, oh, only women in the north or from Africa. Sometimes you see Africa, Nigeria is not listed. Sometimes you see Africa, Nigeria is listed. What do you want to do if you say it's only for Southern African? You're in Nigeria, you're in Ghana, leave it, move on. Okay. So there is no point starting a battle that you cannot win because grants are fierce, they are competitive. Normally, for most grant calls, only the top 1 or 2% wins because everybody need money. Not everybody want to borrow. That's loan. If you put 10 business people, SMEs or startup in your room, do you need money? Yes. Now go and collect a loan from a bank at 33% currently the lending rate in Nigeria. No, because the cost of fund, the interest is too high, the tenor might be too short, and maybe you don't even have a collateral to back that fund because debt financing is secure lending, right? So what option do we then have? Equity. Oh, welcome. You want to raise equity from investors. Beautiful. Bring your from CO2, your from CO7, bring your valuation, bring your cap table, show your governance structure. All of those things is English, music to the ears. A lot of businesses that think they want to qualify for equity investment don't have one of any of those things. They don't even know what a cap table is. They don't have a, you are giving somebody, oh, I want to invest $10 million for 10% equity in my business. Oh, are you saying your business is worth $100 million? For that valuation, equity rises and falls on valuation, your next round and exit for the investor. And it has to be 10x within the shortest possible time. Most people don't know that. Most people don't have that. No documentation to back it up, no governance structure to back it up. So equity is not also on the table, even though it's available. Then everybody runs into the WhatsApp group called grants. They think that grant is free money. Now, Antonio Limelu puts out a call for grants. Typically, this is just for example, he say, oh, I want to give $5,000 or I want to give $50,000 to start up across Africa. I know it's 5. Then 500,000 people applies. A whopping 500,000, close to 1 million. But the man knows he can't solve the problem of Africa alone and he cannot fund everybody. So they screen those applications and they select only the top 5% and a whopping 995,000 will fall by the wayside. They will not get the money. What is 5,000 winners compared to 495,000 that don't win it? That's 1%. Okay? So that is how fierce and how competitive grants can be. And when you do know what to do and you do it and you get those funding, then it now becomes the right catalyst you can use to start your business or grow your enterprise. So the next thing is you have to be eligible. You have to be eligible. The next one after eligibility is you must know how to write a decent, compelling. Let me start again. You must know how to put forward a decent, clear, and compelling proposal or concept note. And what's the issue? Why most people can't do that? Clarity and competence. People are not clear. There's like a cobweb, you know. Without clarity, there's nothing you can pen down it intellectually, right? You'll be having a fog, like a brain block, writer's block in your head. And most people can't navigate those seasons. So no clarity, no confidence. You put in nonsense entry, you join the 9495 that will not get it. Okay, so in our school of grant studies, for instance, we are helping people to build confidence, to build clarity, to look at the grant application and focus on what we call the tailing techniques. Focus on the mirroring techniques. Don't let the grant question overwhelm you. You can tail a question. You can use the mirroring techniques. So you need to build competence, learn, get a skill, get additional knowledge in grant writing, for instance, my opinion, because that is readily not available and it is expensive. Equity can be complex with valuation and exit and dilution and captable and no captable. I'm not asking you not to go the route. Grant is even also on the table, but it's very competitive.
Yeah.
But you can write it yourself if you've gotten clarity and confidence and you can communicate it clearly and convincingly. Because with your grant document, you are doing a pitch. You are not in the room. You're not in the class, you're not in the hall, but you've clicked on submit. Then after 2 months, somebody has reviewed your proposal or your concept note, and he or she have decided to send you a mail and tell you congratulations, just like Tony Olumeli did some weeks ago. These are the shortlisted people. Why? Because what you wrote made sense. Someone read it and they said,
Was able to get
I agree
what
with you on this. I agree
what
with
you're
you on
looking
this.
to build and everything. Yeah.
Exactly. And some other people wrote, and the person said, this one don't make sense. This one don't make sense. This one, they put them
I think
aside.
that brings
So
me.
that,
I think this is very much close to the next question that we have for you, Mr. Edward. So
yes,
you've talked about
yes.
how after everything has been reviewed, some people are being reached out to, and others don't get any kind of feedback.
It's just two messages.
Yeah. So
Congratulations, or we
and
wish
that
to,
could make
we
your
regret
day
to
or mar
inform
your
you.
day.
Whether you get congratulations or we regret to inform you.
Yeah. There's something I was discussing with some of my friends. They were like, the worst day to have a rejection mail is on Monday. I mean, it can just mess up your week.
I missed the
So,
entire week,
all right.
absolutely.
So, what are those things that the common reasons that make grant applications to be rejected? What are those
The
common
first,
reasons?
there are a couple of them. There are a couple of them, maybe about 6 or 7. And this is just giving people open secret without coming to school,
Yeah.
right? The first one is eligibility. You have to be eligible. Non-eligibility is a DQ. I've said that before. The second one is as important as the first one, alignment with program components or funders' objectives. So this my second point is that no matter what you write, if you don't know the program components and you don't align with the funder's objective, you are writing amiss now, you're writing astray now. No matter if you're applying for American Embassy grants, they have what they call American components. If you don't show that when you receive this money, you will do or deliver it with some of American components, and they explained in their open lectures what those components are that they want to see in your application. If you apply for such grant and you don't align with their program component or objective of the funder, you don't miss road now. So DQs, alignment with program component or funder's objective, sustainability is big when it comes to grants. You must show sustainability. You must show impact. Okay. You must have a unique problem statement that is backed by data and a source. Okay. You must show understanding of the target demography, target beneficiary demography, and how you will reach them. Okay. And these are the things. Then expertise, a team with experience to execute, a team that is diverse and inclusive. Okay. So let me do a recap. 6 or 7 elements that can help you find success with your grant application. Number 1, avoiding DQs. Number 2, aligning with program component and funders' objective. Number 3, unique solution. No, number 3 is a clear problem statement.
Okay.
What problem do you want to solve? Clear problem statements, attacking any of the SDGs, that's fine. So after the problem statement is the unique solution. After a unique solution is the understanding of the target beneficiary demography and how you want to reach them. That place will talk about the time, the SAM, and the sum. Okay.
Yeah.
Then the next one after that is your sustainability implementation and sustainability plan. What you want to implement and how you make it sustainable, whether pre the funding or post funding. Then the next one is your M&E, how you capture stories of change, success stories, and impacts. Then finally, the team, who is behind this thing. Do they have experience? Do they have the capability, the track record, the execution excellence
Yeah.
to deliver? So once you know these things and you can, weave them into your application,
And
yeah,
I think these
man,
are really,
you're
really
a,
good
you're
you
a
mentioned
winner.
here. And to be frank, to be very truthful, we can actually exhaust all of this in this session. And that brings me to I know you have this good outfit out there, the School of Grants. So, what is the School of Grants
Yeah,
all
the School
about?
of Grand
Because if
Success. Yeah.
if I say that we're going to exhaust all of these strategies and everything, I
Um,
doubt we would ever leave here today.
the
So,
Lord, the Lord.
what
These
is
are just
what is
teasers
the
and
School of
headlines
Grants, and
only.
how is it helping entrepreneurs and startups to be able to scale through the grant application process?
You notice that there is a need for funding, but not everybody wants to borrow loan, and not everybody wants to go through equity. I've said that before. So a lot of people wants to flow into grants, but they lack the clarity, they lack the competence to write a solid or decent application. So the School of Grand Success is just a new institution. We are very ambitious. We want to reach 1 million people in 10 years, 1 million startup and SMEs. To help people understand what it means to apply for grants, to prepare a proposal, do a pitch deck, do pitch presentation, build capacity